everybody. Welcome back to Ask Me Anything AI, sponsored by Barry. So usually every single week, I just kind of talk about, everything AI that I've even learned this week because it's such a evolving thing and it's just so exciting to learn more and more things. So I like to tell you guys about everything I'm learning. So Darla was asking, she says, I'm curious about AI and chart audits. Are you aware of any programs that have these capabilities? So I'm not aware of any audit AI programs, but you can totally do this with ChatGPT if you wanted to, if you felt comfortable doing that. So obviously no PHI. We talk about that all the time. You cannot put any PHI into ChatGPT, but there are HIPAA compliant ChatGPTs. There's one called Bastion, and I'm trying to think of the other one. I can't think of it off the top of my head. So of course you can't put any PHI in there, but if you have a note or, an audit format that you're trying to follow, for example, most of the major insurance companies have documentation standards that they want you to follow. And even most of the Medicaids in most states, Medicare, you can find an audit guide. Not exactly the exact checklist that they follow, although there are some out there, but you can basically take that audit guide, you can upload it to ChatGPT, and you can say, here's the audit standards set forth by this insurance company. I want to upload a note for you, and I want you to see if it meets the criteria for this audit status that they want me to follow. So you upload the audit status, the check boxes and all that stuff. I'll find one for you. And then upload your note, obviously no PHI. Make sure you look through it, make sure it's not really identifiable, but upload it and ask it to run an audit on your note and see what it comes up with. Or take out certain parts, the subjective, and see what it says about that. Or if you have a treatment plan that you've got for a client, obviously you're not going to have PHI in there, but you could drop the treatment plan into ChatGPT and say, this is how this insurance company wants me to do my treatment plan, or my employer or whoever, does it meet the standards? And have it just do an analysis for you real quick, and it'll do a really thorough analysis for that. So I would do it that way. And let me see what the second part of her question was. Are you aware? Yeah, I'm not aware of any programs necessarily that do specifically chart audits. Is probably coming, and I'm going to keep my eye out for something like that because it would be super helpful. But this is totally a way to do it, especially if you do it in a HIPAA compliant ChatGPT. You could set the whole thing up in a GPT and say, this is the audit requirements. Here's the actual case file. You could upload entire data files basically to ChatGPT. So if you're doing it in a HIPAA compliant environment, you could literally upload the whole file and tell it to audit it based on audit standards. If you don't know what audit standards are, if you can't find them, ask ChatGPT. What are the audit standards for clinical documentation for therapists? Ask. It's going to give you a list. And then you can say, now I want you to basically analyze this file upload based on this client and tell me, did I pass the audit? Tell it to act like an insurance company auditor. Tell it to behave like that with a really critical eye. And it'll do it for you. But definitely Bastion GPT, it's Bastion GPT, BASTION GPT.com. And then there's one that just says compliant ChatGPT. This is a new one for me. So something like that. Of course, you want to read the fine print, make sure it's actually HIPAA compliant, what makes it HIPAA compliant. Yeah, this one is totally HIPAA compliant based on what I'm seeing right here. And it's literally, the URL is compliantchatgpt.com. So you could totally go over there, tell it to run an audit on a file upload, with Simple Practice or Out Practice or an EHR that you're using. You can download a client file, just like if you had to give records to somebody, download it. If you feel comfortable, I know people get really upset when I say this stuff. Take the file, put it over in one of these HIPAA compliant GPTs and see what happens. So I figured out something really cool, and it's kind of blowing my mind. I just want to go play with it. I'm obsessed with AI. So I've created an army basically of GPTs. If you guys don't know what those are, they're basically these super specific chatbots that you program within ChatGPT. You have to have a paid version to do this, but you can program it. You can upload files to it. You can tell it exactly how you want it to behave, but it's very specific. And what I found is that I've tried to do this so many ways. So first I started making one and I was like, okay, I want you to write a newsletter and I want you to do this and I want you to do that. And I want it to all be about Kim Tolson, a traveling therapist or whatever. But it really doesn't like a ton of instructions like that. So what I've learned over time with ChatGPT is that, you need to make these GPTs pretty specific. So this one writes blogs for this brand. This one, writes emails for this other brand. Making it really specific will, give you much better results, and you can train it a lot more specifically and that sort of thing. But here's the cool thing. And if you are watching this or listening to this on the podcast and you're in the Clinical AI Club, I'm going to go make a video tutorial right after this for you guys. I'm going to upload it in the AI Club. Of course, I'm going to tag you guys so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But in ChatGPT, you can start a chat, right? If you have the paid version, you can start a chat. And let's say you've created this army of personal assistants. You've got your marketer, you've got your intake coordinator, you've got all these GPTs that you've built. And if you start a chat and you're like, okay, I need to talk to you about this, ChatGPT, you have a conversation. But what you can do is use the @ symbol. You could say @ and then you can basically call up any of your GPTs that you've personally built. So within this specific chat, you can now call in, now I want you to write an email for it. And I want to use @ my email writer. And now I want you to do a social media post @ my social media post writer. So you basically tag your GPTs, and this is a way to pull all of your very specific GPTs into one place and have it in a chat, but each one is functioning basically as these really specific bots. So they've got their specific purpose, but now you can pull them all into the chats together, and it's totally insane. I've been playing with it. Because, it was kind of frustrating before because I'd have all of them and I'd be like, gosh, now I really want to do a social media post about this. But to do that, I probably should go to the GPT I already built. But you don't have to do that anymore. You can just say @ my GPT I built for social media in this same thread. So it knows what you're talking about. But you've got like the really specific bots working for you. And it's insanity. Like, I just can't even believe this. I just was kind of playing around and I was like, wait, I wonder if I can do this. And if I could pull this in and then this. And you guys, those of you that have built GPTs, if you're not doing this, you're going to be blown away. It's a way to get all your GPTs working together for you. So I know I've said that like 3 times. I'm so excited about it. So go try it. And those of you in the Clinical AI Club, I'm going to do a tutorial for you. I'm going to walk you through how to do it. The only problem that I found so far is I have like a Teams account. So I've built some GPTs over in my team account, basically where I've got my BAs and everybody in my team account. And then I have my personal account where I built other GPTs. So I kind of been like going back and forth with where I'm building them. And I think that was a mistake because basically I can't tag my team GPTs like I can with the personal GPTs. Like, I can't flop back and forth, basically, is what I'm saying. So I've got to figure that out. I'm kind of wondering, I'm going to do an experiment with this. If I can, you know how you can share a GPT? If you go up to the share tag, you can get a link for it. I think what I'm going to try to do is take that link and open it up in my personal account or my team account or whatever, open up the one that's not in there, have it then functioning within that account, basically. And then I think I'll be able to tag that GPT that's very specific in the other account. So I haven't played with it yet. I hope that makes sense. This is my brain. I'm just like really excited about it right now. I'm trying to figure out all the ways to use it, but I think that's a workaround. A lot of you guys ask me sometimes, like, what's workarounds with ChatGPT? So I'm pretty sure that will work. I've just got to test it. But super excited about this. And you could pull other people's GPTs in. So like, let's say you're in here working with your own GPTs you're pulling in. And then let's say, okay, gosh, now I really need to figure out which Canva template to use to make this even better. Like, I want to turn this into a worksheet to give to my clients, or a worksheet to, give in my email sequence for my nurture sequence for my people on my wait list or something like that. You can pull Canva in then into it too. You can say, okay, at Canva, and it's going to pull up the Canva GPT. You can say, which template should I use for this? And it's going to find you a bunch of templates for what you're already working on inside of that, like, same chat thread. And then, of course, you name the chat thread, and then you've got this chat thread that's like supercharged, basically. So I'm just really excited about it. I think it's super cool. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. If you've already tried it, let me know. Yeah. And let's see, what else do I want to tell you guys about? Of course, this is sponsored by Berries, BERRIES.ICU/therapist. They're the partner with this podcast. They did a big announcement where they've released their treatment plan feature. So if you haven't tried that yet, you do get 20 free sessions with Berries. So I would say go hop on there, like do a fictitious client if you want to. Press record and just dictate a session you had recently or something. Just talk for like less than a minute. It'll write a really good note for you. Once it writes the note, it creates the note. You go down and you click treatment plan and it turns it into a perfect treatment plan for you. If you haven't tried it yet, go try it. It's amazing. It's like we're never going to have to do admin work again, which gets me so excited. And then all these little hacks that I'm talking about here, like with the GPT hack, I just can't even believe the capabilities. I don't know where it's going to be a year from now, but it's just blowing my mind right now that we can even do this. Another cool thing I saw was this LLM. My friend Uriah, the productive therapist, he sent it to me. It's called Notebook LM. So you could take any article on the internet, you drop it into this notebooklm.google.com, and it turns it into a podcast, like a real podcast. It's like two hosts are hosting the podcast together. They're talking about the article. They're going back and forth. They're bantering about it. You could pick the tone if you want it to be funny, if you want it to be serious. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I haven't even gotten much time to play with this either, but go try it. It's free, you guys. And the possibilities for this are really just endless. I was doing a demonstration of this in the Clinical AI Club. And somebody in the meeting was like, wait a second, I'm a professor. I would love to be able to, take my homework assignments, upload them to this thing, from the textbook or whatever, and have them do like an audio podcast of the content and then share it with my students and have them learn that way. Like if they don't learn from reading that well, or they just prefer a different format. I was like, that is genius. And students could really do this too. It's like, God, I'm not getting this content. Let me see if I could put it into this really cool format and try to learn that way. So, if you're that type of learner, if you're like me, I consume like 1,000 podcasts a week and an audiobook and just tons of like recorded audio. I'm always listening to stuff, business books, that kind of thing. Check it out, you guys. It's insane. It's really cool. You can just change the tone. You can have different speakers talking about it. You could like tell it how you want it to approach the content. Like if you want it to be super boring or really funny, like you can instruct this thing on how to do it. And as far as I know, it's free. There's probably like some upgrade I don't know about, but we were playing with it in the AI Club and everybody was blown away with it. So I wanted to share it with you guys here real quick. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, of course, I'm going to put these down in the show notes for you to check these out. And of course, I'll give you the link to Berries. And we also have another new sponsor for the Writing Private Practice of the AI podcast, and that is Alma. Alma has sponsored the podcast. They're super excited about it. Alma is really leaping into the AI world, which I think is awesome. Of course, you guys know I think it's amazing. So Alma's sponsoring the podcast now too. Super excited about that.